Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am Barbara if you're brand new here, and I live in Tennessee, and I'm glad that you stopped by my channel if you're new. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for continuing to come back and hang out with me in the garden. If you are new, please say hello down in the comments below. Let me know what state or country you're coming in from so I can say hello back and officially welcome you to my channel. So on this channel, we talk about gardening and homesteading, things like DIY, food preservation, sourdough bread, cooking from scratch. And so we have a good time while doing it. My goal is to inspire everybody that comes across this page to grow food. I don't care how much land you have or land that you don't have. I don't care what space you have. I just want to inspire you to grow food. I want to inspire you to cook from scratch as much as you can. I want to inspire you to preserve food and have a little bit of self-sustainability or independence in the corner of the world where you live. That is what I'm all about. And I like to have fun while doing it. So thank you so much for being here. So today, y'all, we are doing a garden tour, which is very, very exciting. So we're doing our first fall garden tour at the end of October. So if you've been here, you know you've been with me all throughout the summer, how we had a great summer. We had a lot of wins. We had a few losses. That's the nature of gardening. But for the most part, I would say 95% of our summer stuff is gone. I still can't say 100% yet, y'all, because we still have peppers yet hanging on the last week of October. I'm in zone 7B, and so our estimated first frost date was October the 19th, but it has not happened as of yet. And right now, the 10-day forecast, it still doesn't say we're going to have a frost. The lowest temperatures I've seen in the 10-day forecast is 40 degrees. Now, it could change, but as of right now, we still have not had a first frost. It has been some chilly nights and some really chilly mornings, but in the daytime, it's been roughly around 70 to 75 degrees, perfect fall weather. So we are enjoying it the best that we can. So I want to show you what the garden looks like the last week of October. And you'll also see when we go down to the high tunnel, how things are looking, because that's primarily where we are gardening for the fall and winter. So if you're new here, we have three main spaces that we garden in. The first space that I'm sitting in right now is my backyard. That is where my garden started, literally, y'all, 5 years ago. I had never put my hands in dirt, but my husband and son built me 4 raised beds, and that's where my garden started. Now, in 5 years, we've done a little expanding, just a little bit. But so that's space number one. So we're going to start here because I do have some green stalks that I've planted out for the fall, and we have some beds back here that we're going to talk about what we're going to be doing for the fall and winter. And then we're going to end up in our high tunnel, which is the bulk and the majority, 99% of our food that we will eat over the next 6 months in the fall and winter and even beyond is going to be happening or is happening in our high tunnel. Our high tunnel is 30 by 96. So I cannot wait to show you that space and how we crank out food where we're harvesting food literally, y'all, every single week. And we already have stuff that we can harvest this last week of October because of our hard work that we started our seedlings the last week of July. We planted them out like the last week of August, and y'all, it's already producing and ready to harvest. So I cannot wait to show you that on this part of the video. But first, let's start out in the back of the house. So I have green stalks in the back of my house. I have 5 that you can see. I have more, but you just can't see them. But I have 5 that you can see. And normally, y'all, I usually use these primarily in the spring and summer. I don't normally garden back here in the back of my house or in the green stalks during the fall and winter because literally, y'all, I can crank out enough food for my family's needs for the whole fall and winter just out of my high tunnel. And because it is protected, I have, automatic season extension where I don't have to do a whole lot besides cover if it gets really, really low. But for the most part, it is kind of self-sufficient versus when I do a lot of stuff outside, I'm going to have to cover and uncover, the whole dance. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But because I have a high tunnel, then I have the luxury of not having to do that. But trust me, before I had a high tunnel, I was doing that. So I understand what that life is like. But in my green stalks, I decided this year to plant out 2 out of the 5 of my green stalks for some fall and winter crops. And it's more things that I can just grab and go. My kitchen is like literally at the back of the house. My kitchen's at the back of the house. So if I'm in the kitchen cooking and I need some herbs or some greens and things like that, I can literally just come out my back door, even if it's 20 degrees, quickly grab something and go on back in the house versus me having to walk to my high tunnel or drive down there. It's dark and it's 20 degrees. I can just pop right out here. So I thought it would be good to have some things right out here for easy access. So I'm going to show you how the things are doing in the GREENSTALK, and then we're going to see the bed. So let's go over here to the GREENSTALKs first. So this GREENSTALK, I did the evergreen and then also the blackberry. So if you're not familiar with GREENSTALK, GREENSTALK is a vertical gardening system, just like you see here. They come in different colors. They come in different sizes. So I have all three sizes. This right here is the original, which is the bigger pockets. These pockets are 10 inches deep. And then I also have the what they call the leaf, which is this blackberry dark purple color. Those pockets are 7 inches deep. And then we also have a 3-tier that I can show you as well. So this is a 5-tier, that's a 7-tier, and there's also a 3-tier. If you're interested in GREENSTALK, I've done plenty of content on GREENSTALK. You can go watch some previous videos or drop a comment or a question down below, but you can use my code anytime you want to buy a GREENSTALK, whether it's now or later. You can use my code LFF10 for an extra $10 off your order whenever you decide to get you a GREENSTALK. But they are perfect for everyone, but especially if you are working with limited space. This is a great way to crank out a lot of food because it only takes up 2 feet of space. That is it. But in my GREENSTALK, you can see what I have here. I have some lettuces up here, and then I have parsley here. And this is a leftover from the spring. I planted this actually like in March, and it's still doing good. It's kind of come back to life. We have some kale that's growing here. I'll just kind of spin it around. I have some alyssum, which is just a pretty flower to just kind of give it some texture. This is a red lettuce. You can't hardly see that one. It's kind of just got started. This is some calendula. I have rosemary. I have bok choy growing right there. You can see that it's growing. It's my first time doing bok choy in the GREENSTALK, so you can see that it's doing well there. More lettuce. I have some spinach in there. And then down below, I have some oregano. So I still have some pockets that don't have some things in them that I can add to. And I'll do that as I have additional seedlings and stuff like that. And then I put them on there. So you can fill this up with herbs, veggies, flowers, whatever you like. Then over here, we have the blackberry color. This one has a ton of stuff in it. You see I got some kale growing right there. That's calendula. This is oregano. These are violas, and then also some more alyssum. All of this stuff I grew by seed. More oregano up there. So again, if I need some oregano for a quick Italian meal or something like that, I can come and grab it fresh. I have some cilantro growing here. So the leaf, because it has the more shallow pockets, is only 7 inches. It's great for like leafy greens and things that do not have a long, extensive root system. Versus the original, you can grow things in here in the summer like tomatoes, cucumbers, and things that is going to take a little bit more space. You see, I have lettuce. Like all of this stuff is doing really, really well. I even have a bok choy growing up here as well. So overall, that's doing good. So I'm only going to stick with these 2 GREENSTALKs because again, I'm just doing it for convenience and things like that. And so that's going to work out perfectly. Now let me take you over to the raised beds and let's talk about what's going on over there. Okay, so this is the first raised bed that we have. I have 5 raised beds back here now. I started with 4 and then we added an additional raised bed. The raised beds back here are all wooden, but this bed right here, again, I don't normally plant out here in the fall and winter for like vegetable crops and things like that. But I decided to play around. But let me first show you this. These are our pepper plants. You see my husband's out here picking jalapeno peppers. Y'all, it's the last week of October and they are still yet hanging on. How many you got, honey? Let's see.
Probably about 15 to 20.
It's slowing down. We get them like every week, but he's already gotten that many so far. So the peppers are still doing good. So peppers don't like temperatures below 55 degrees. It's been 40 and they're slowing down, but it's not killing them because they're obviously very established. They won't die until like the frost. So we just let them hang out and keep doing what they are doing. We grow a lot of jalapenos here because we sell a product called jalapeno salt. Many of you have tried it. If you haven't tried it, you need to run, not walk, to the website and go get you some jalapeno salt. That's what you need to do. Now, it stays out of stock because y'all are selling us out. Every time I mention jalapeno salt, y'all go sell it out, and then we have to make more. We are on the final batches of jalapeno salt. And so I would say we will probably have jalapeno salt until maybe mid-November is the way it's tracking right now. But anyway, in this bed, those are the peppers. They will obviously come out once the frost hits and they're done. We will pull those out. But in this bed right here, I have some calendula, some violas, and some alyssum that I started from seed that I'm just experimenting with. And then also I have some onions that I'm experimenting with as well. I actually grew those from seed. So you can see the onions there. They're looking good. I grew them from seed. And again, you may say, oh, I didn't know you could do onions in the fall and winter in Zone 7. I've never done it before. I'm experimenting. But so far, they're doing good. We're going to see what happens. I'm hoping that the calendula flowers before it gets too cold. Calendula is good up to 25 degrees, so we're not even remotely there yet. So hopefully I will get some calendula as well. Now, what you see in the empty spaces, you and I planted together some carrots, beets, and radishes just a couple of days ago. And so those things have not germinated and come up yet, but they usually take a good, carrots take about 7 to 9 days. Beets and radishes about, 3 or 4. So we just planted those in. I'm actually going to water those in some more. You want to keep watering until you see germination, but that's this bed right here. It is good to go. Now, the rest of our beds, we have 4 beds here that are empty, and the rest of these beds, 3 of them will be for garlic. So we will do probably beds 2, 3, and 4 for garlic is probably what we will do. And then I'll have that other bed right there on the very end. That will be onions. Now we will do garlic in these beds in the next couple of days or so. But garlic will go in 3 beds here. Onions, and that'll be in the next couple of weeks, so by November. Onions will go here in February, and then onions will also go back here in this bed that I just showed you. Now, I'm being very strategic because everything that's in this bed will be done by February. The onions will be done. If not, then of course more onions are just going to go in here, so those 6 can stay. The calendula will be done by then. The alyssum can stay because it's in the corner. The viola can stay. The peppers will be gone. The carrots, the beets, and the radishes that are planted will be harvested by then. So that's why I intentionally chose this bed to put those things in, because I know in February, at the late February, onions will come in this bed and fill behind it. So that's another reason why I didn't do cabbages and broccolis and things like that in this bed. So that's pretty much the backyard. 5 raised beds. And then we have our green stalks. And then you guys saw on a previous video, probably a week or so ago, we have our citrus trees. We have our lemon, and we have our orange tree. Also, you guys haven't seen this. I've been meaning to show this. We have a banana tree. We're about to up pot that from that one to this one, and it'll kind of go. They will live in the sunroom for most of the winter. So that's what we have going on back here. So as you can see, we have a little something going on in the backyard. Again, mostly convenience items that I can grab and pull, and then things that I'm experimenting with. And then, quite frankly, the carrots, the beets, and radishes that's going to come up in this bed is really just utilizing space, right? I have carrots, beets, and radishes in my other areas, but because I have this open space, it's easy for me to sow those things and know that they'll be done by the time I need the bed in late February. And again, it's also a part of, as much as possible, you don't want to keep your soil naked. You want to at least have plants in there or mulch it, but you don't want to leave it naked. Okay. So I got those boxes covered. Now I'm going to meet you down at the high tunnel, and we'll show you how things are doing the last week of October in the high tunnel with all of our fall and winter crops. Okay, guys, we're at the high tunnel. And so if you're new to my high tunnel, it's your first time seeing it, our high tunnel is 30 by 96. We have 6 raised beds. They're all 4 by 8. And then we have 5 rows in the back that are in ground, and they're 45 feet long each. And so let's start with the raised beds and we'll just work ourselves down. So starting on the right hand side with the first raised bed, this was our herb bed in the spring and summer. So the herbs that we planted that were still doing good, we let them continue and they'll just be here. We have some parsley here. We have a ton of chives. So both of these we could actually harvest. In the corners, I like to always do flowers. And then along the edge, I'll do herbs as well. So I have some purple alyssum and white alyssum over here in the corner. That's some kale. We have some cilantro right in there. The water just came on, so that's why everything's looking a little dewy. We have lettuce and then also lettuce along here. And then you can see that we have some cilantro back there that's growing nicely. In the back is rosemary that's been there since I would say March or so. And then we have some snapdragons right here that we are overwintering. You can see they have some little bitty buds on them right there. And then along the way, we also still have some chives and some alyssum. I see we have one plant that has some damage right there. I will pull that out or just let it stay there. This bed, I never covered with the insect cover. So that looks like that was probably kale that some little insect got a hold of, which is fine. No biggie on that. But overall, you can see this bed is good. We also have some spinach here, right here in the middle, that's starting to grow. So you can see we still have a couple of spaces left in this bed, but once everything kind of fills out, we can probably put 2 or 3 more things in there. But for the most part, this bed is pretty much planted. Now this bed here, you can see it is full. It is full. This was the very first fall bed that we planted. Most of these beds were planted at the beginning of September. This was the very first one. And you can see, y'all, we have harvesting to do. Look at these big leaves of lettuce. All along the border, we have lettuce that is just absolutely beautiful. This is Merlot. I don't remember what brand this is or what variety, but it's doing absolutely amazing. This bed I planted a little bit more intense than I normally do because I'm experimenting with something in terms of garden design with symmetry and then just how much I can maximize the bed. So this is an experiment that I'm trying because I usually don't plant my stuff this close together just because I like a little bit more space. But it is growing very, very well. But what I'm experimenting with is one, it's supposed to be helping with weed control as well as pest control because there's not a lot of space for things to be popping up because we have the soil pretty much covered. So we have bok choy in here. I also have some purple bok choy. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. I have broccoli and stuff growing in the middle. That's going to give this bed some height. And then more bok choy back there. We also have some snapdragons that we're overwintering right here. And then coming up here, we have kale. Again, this kale can already be harvested. And then also along the edge, we have more lettuce. I got to remember what lettuce this is because these leaves are so huge. Y'all, look at that. But to me, this bed is absolutely, absolutely stunning. I love having the pop of color in the corners. That's some alyssum, a white, and then a purple. Now let's go to the bed beside it. This bed is mostly carrots. You can see our carrots came up that you and I did together. We have 2 rows there. And then we also have 2 rows there. But then we also did some radishes right here. I thinned them out once. I need to thin them out again. And then in the middle, we have some calendula, some lettuce, and some cilantro. Back there is a snapdragon from last year that we overwintered, and it's still doing great, so we kept it. So this bed may look sparse now, but once the carrots grow up, it'll be pretty full in here as well. Now we're on the left hand side. So This bed here, again, more of the same. You can see we have one summer vegetable still cranking it out here. Here is some patty pan squash. Again, I'm letting it hang out to see if I can get me 2 or 3 more patty pan squash. You can see they're forming right there. So I'll let it hang out again until it can't hang out any longer. And then we'll replace that with some other stuff. But also in this bed, we have cabbage. We have oregano. More lettuces that are growing. Look at that, ready to be harvested. Another cabbage, some kale, purple bok choy, and then more lettuces as well. So I can put something else right there in the middle, and that'll come in handy because you and I started some more seedlings a couple of weeks ago, and so when those are ready to be transplanted, these are the spaces that I will fill in. The bed beside it, it's doing well. More of the same. We have lettuce, we have broccoli, we have bok choy. Like that bok choy could be harvested. Cilantro is growing nicely. We still have our holy basil in here. I'm gonna harvest that. And again, I'm gonna let it hang out until it can't hang out anymore. And then we have some thyme there. And then, y'all, we still have some jalapeno peppers along the back. The last bed on the left-hand side, again, we have more lettuce, calendula, bok choy. This is either broccoli or cauliflower. I can't remember which one. I think it's cauliflower. The purple bok choy is just absolutely stunning. We have some echinacea coneflower. I actually planted that last year. It came back, so we're letting it hang out. And then this was here from the spring, rosemary. Well, that's been here for a couple of years. And then some lavender that we cut back. And then the Dusty Miller in the back. So overall, this bed is also doing well. So I'm very pleased with how things are looking, and I didn't even anticipate that I would have stuff to harvest, which seems like kind of soon to me. But I'm here for it. So we'll definitely harvest the stuff, but I wanted to at least show you what things are looking like before I harvest it. And definitely, you know, with the lettuce and stuff, it's cut and come again. So the more I harvest it, the more it will continue to grow back. And then the kale, same thing, it'll continue to grow back. So I plan on harvesting the lettuce, the kale, and probably a couple of the bok choy, and then obviously some herbs. The broccoli, cauliflower, and things like that, they're not ready, but they will be, I would say, probably in the next 30 to 45 days, somewhere along in there. But things are looking good in the raised beds. I do have a couple of pieces that have damage, but out of 6 beds, a couple of pieces, not too shabby. Now, I showed you that I covered my beds with insect cover. I kind of pulled most of it off so that you can see. But in one of my insect cover beds, I didn't realize there was a hole. And so something did get in and tore up one of the bok choys, which is fine. And like you saw in this first raised bed, it got the one piece of kale as well. And sometimes I'll just like let the one that's damaged stay in there. So if they want to keep snacking before I get to them, they can keep snacking that one and not go to a new one. But overall, as you can see, things are looking really, really good. And now we're at the point that is about to be where we won't really need insect cover because the pest pressure is definitely decreasing. The temperatures are decreasing. And so we won't really need the insect cover. But let me take you back to the back of the bed where I still have some spaces covered with insect cover. We'll look through the insect cover just because today I don't have the time to uncover it and cover it. But then I also do have a space that's not covered, and you can see how that's growing as well. So these 2 rows are mostly collard greens and kale, and there are a few Brussels sprouts in here. I planted these before I planted the other side, so that way you'll be able to see the difference. So you will be able to see the difference in size. And so you can see the collard greens are pretty much growing very, very well. You can see that there is an insect damage right there on that one. Again, that one just kind of random. Something must have got in there. Not too overly concerned about it. But if you see the rest of them, they're pretty much look good. And I would say I'll be ready to pick the first harvest from these, I would say in 30 days or less, for sure. So you can kind of see how that's going. And then on this row in the back, starting off, we have kale. Hopefully you can see very good through there. The kale is, again, looking great. I have the winter board kale, and then this is the red board kale. So overall, it's looking really, really good. A couple of these I think are cabbages. So they're just now starting to fan out, but they haven't started to head yet at all. But these rows are looking good. Then over here, these were planted probably 2 weeks after these. So hence, that's why the size is smaller. This row is mostly, there's a purple bok choy. These are mostly Brussels sprouts. You can see they're smaller than the things over on the other side, but they're still doing great. This whole row is mostly Brussels sprouts. And then we have some peppers again, just still hanging out. And then behind it, we have more collards and cabbages. This stuff hasn't been covered, so it's been covered by the grace and not an insect cover, just because I never made it back out here to do it. So I'm really thankful that it hasn't been eaten up. And these are mostly cabbages and broccoli along in here, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all, this section right here are all my fruit trees that did not get planted in the ground, and they'll be planted in the spring. So out of this, I got a mix of blueberries, elderberries, blackberries, and I think that's it. Besides what we've already taken up to the house. So most of these will hang out here over the fall and winter. I just kind of got them all in one little area. The sage can be harvested. It's doing great as well. And then, of course, I have herbs all in these containers here. Lemon balm and some mint. So, guys, I think overall it is doing well. There's a couple of, like I said, a couple of things that got eaten from my own either negligence or there was a hole. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but I would say 98% of it is to the good and looking good. And we hope to hopefully keep it that way. And it's exciting that we already have some stuff to harvest as well. So this is what it can look like if you garden in the fall and winter, and what it can look like literally the last week of October, that you could be harvesting food to eat for your family. Now, I want to know how your fall and winter gardens are doing. And if you have questions about anything that I'm doing out here or outside, definitely let me know. Now, in our outside space, there is our outside garden. That was where we do all of our summer garden. Well, we do summer garden in all 3 spaces, but we only use that outside space for the summer garden. I do have a couple of raised beds that I have some beets, radishes, and I'm overwintering some snapdragons and another flower in there. But you guys kind of saw that in a previous video. But that's all that's going to be out there once we take out all the peppers. The peppers are still hanging out there until they can't no longer. But other than that, everything else will be gone out there except that one raised bed. And then when it comes time for onions, we will also plant onions out there in February. So for the most part, this space out here will not really be, when I say tended to, I'll go out there and check on that one raised bed, but there's not going to be much happening out there because we kind of just shut that down out there and really focus on in here. I'm excited about what the season is going to bring ahead. I'm excited to see some of the other things like the broccoli. The Brussels sprouts will be the last thing that will kind of be ready because Brussels sprouts take about 120 days. Collards will probably, so on this wave, we can harvest now lettuce and kale and some bok choy. On the next wave, we'll be harvesting collard greens. And then I would say after that, it'll probably be broccoli, then cabbage, and cauliflower somewhere along in there. And then the very last thing will be Brussels sprouts, just because they take a long time. And then we'll just have it on repeat all throughout the fall and winter. This stuff will hang out in here until about the end of March. So literally, y'all, when I say I'm growing food 6 months at a time, that is what I'm doing, because this stuff was in here beginning of September. It will be in here to the end of March until we transition to the summer. So this is the space where you and I'll be hanging out for a lot of garden harvest upcoming in the fall and winter. I hope that you guys found this enjoyable. Let me know what questions you have. Let me know how your gardens are doing. And y'all, remember, this is all a journey. Let's do it together. Can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye for now, friends.